How's it going, everybody? Vin here, and today we're going to be discussing the big news that came out of baseball. Carlos Correa signing with the New York Mets after being essentially signed with the Giants, as he has reportedly agreed to a 12-year, $315 million contract with the New York Mets. Now, that's after he agreed to a deal with the Giants, as there was something that popped up reportedly in his physical. This is something that obviously can happen. The report is that it wasn't the back, but once that happens and there is no signature on the dotted line, he's officially still a free agent. He can still go out there and get the contract. Overnight, Steve Cohen made the deal. 12 years, $315 million. Let's look at exactly what that is. That's $26.25 million a year. Now, that's huge because obviously the Mets now are way over the luxury tax. They're over the Steve Cohen tax that they created. But $26 million for Carlos Correa is a steal. He had a 13-year, $350 million contract with the Giants. So basically, he just lost 1 year and about $200,000 per deal or per year. Now, Correa and Lindor on the left side of the infield, that's going to be probably the best left side of the infield since Alex Rodriguez and Derek Jeter. I think that's essentially what it's going to be. But there has been no real reasoning of why the Giants officially did not just offer him a new contract or try to essentially do things to keep him with the team. But right now, the club's payroll is approximately $421 million with the luxury tax penalties. Steve Cohen doesn't care. They are building something in the Mets that really is going to be incredible. I mean, you look at what their free agents are. They signed Justin Verlander. They signed Carlos Correa. They re-signed Edwin Diaz. They are just strengthening their team, and that's only just a few of the top names that they signed. As Carlos Correa now probably going to shift over to third base is probably best for the longevity of his career, and if we're going to be honest, as he's already dealt with injuries. But this is something that's going to be really interesting to watch. Now, Correa adjusting to NL pitching, I think, is going to be interesting to watch this upcoming year. As you saw with Francisco Lindor, you see it with other guys. But that adjustment to new pitching is going to be different. Correa is in the first year going to the NL, but the schedule has changed where every team plays against each other. So he's still going to see a good amount of American League teams. So that's going to be about 40 games at least, where he is going to play against pitchers that he's used to seeing. I think that's a huge thing. If he can stay on the field, I think this is going to be something that he could dominate. He was a Gold Glove winner in 2021 at shortstop. Moving on to third base, I think he has the arm for it. I think he doesn't need the range, so that's going to be great on the defensive side. His offensive numbers are incredible. Looking at his 162 average, he averages 28 home runs, 100 RBIs. So he is essentially a 30-100 guy at third base now. I think that's going to be interesting. I think Steve Cohen just basically said, hey, if you're an owner of an MLB team, I am going to be the George Steinbrenner of this generation. He doesn't care how much the luxury tax is. You're playing with pretend money at this point. Just put everything on the table and have teams tell you no. He has huge contracts in Lindor and now Correa. He's going to have a contract coming up soon with Pete Alonso. I think it's just great that he's saying, hey, I'll give you the contract. I'll give you length. I'll give you highest AAV if that's what you want. You have to tell me that you don't want to be a part of New York. It's an interesting dynamic. I think this is essentially what George Steinbrenner did with the Yankees all those years ago. But this is huge news. I think Correa is going to be a great fit in New York. As one, he was a villain to Yankees fans. Now he's the crosstown rival for the next 12 years. I think that's going to be a fun thing. He's only 28 years old. So this contract's going to last him until about 39. So just the idea that he is going to be in New York on the bright lights, that's going to be incredible. I think New York sports in general have just became the biggest place once again. I think LA might have topped them for a little bit. Boston, arguably, with all the championships. I think New York right now is, again, the best sports market in North American sports. But Carlos Correa joining the Mets, that makes them a really big deal. I think they're going to win the NL. I think they have the bullpen with guys like Edwin Diaz, Adam Ottavino, Seth Lugo in the back of their bullpen. I think with their rotation right now being headed by a Justin Verlander and a Max Scherzer, as well as some other guys like Senga and down the line, some other guys. But they have a deep rotation. They have a good bullpen. They're position players. I mean, if you look at what the Mets' projected lineup is, let me pull that up. That is something that's just full of all-stars, essentially. So right now, it looks like it's going to be, according to FanSI.com, Brandon Nimmo, Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Mark Canha, Daniel Vogelbach, Starling Marte, and Francisco Alvarez. That's a really deep lineup. I don't think there's much teams, if any, that can compete with that. Now, is the contract going to age well? The contract ages perfectly if the Mets are able to win a World Series. They have their window. I think they're going to be able to do so eventually. Might not be this year. Think that there's a lot of factors, obviously, that go into a World Series. But Steve Cohen has basically said, hey, I don't care. We are going to win. They just saw the Phillies make the World Series this year. They saw the Braves win the World Series the year before that. Steve Cohen's a Met fan. That has to get under his skin. Now, in baseball's toughest division in the NL East, having the Mets be a serious contender is going to be good for the sport and for New York in general. That's all I have for you guys. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.